every day you put it off, the old you survives and it's weaker. The weaker version of yourself every day. It doesn't matter what it is, lion, whatever. Every day you put something off, you've allowed a weaker person to survive. Like, you didn't die. So you survived another day where you are. That's slow death, by the way.
Welcome to the Lion's Edge, where top performers sharpen their teeth. Hosted by Joe Blackburn, founder of The Lion, who is relentlessly dedicated to helping business owners lead multi-million-dollar teams. And me, Jason Croft. I transform unseen entrepreneurs into industry leaders by developing their market gravity. Each week, we reveal proven strategies and raw insights to help you maximize your business, multiply your wealth, and make your family indestructible. Now, let's create your edge.
This is becoming my venting session. I don't know if you've caught that.
It's good. It's fun, though. It's entertaining. Your pain is entertaining for everyone else. I like what's coming up right now is the fact that you're seeing so many people need permission to be successful. I love the way you phrase that, because there's a spectrum for sure, but we all kind of have that version of that. And if we're in a relationship, maybe it's controlling, maybe it's the spouse is just unsure of their own world. Maybe that's where some of that comes from. And we want to be a good spouse, be there for them. But how do we compartmentalize these things and communicate that so that we can go do what we're amazing at full force?
Right. Well, on the other end of that, as I say it out loud, and on the other end of the spectrum, I can, when I look at the people in the Lion that are there, they have huge support. And we encourage spouses to be there, especially in person. And some of them are in the school. They're more active than anyone. They're the biggest supporter of what's, being done on the business side, on the wealth side. I mean, I can start rattling, Cassie Cook, Gary's wife, we did our thing out there. I mean, she was painting rooms and you would have thought the president was showing up. And she's not heavily involved in any of the other stuff, but when he was going to host the Lions, it was like, we're rolling out the red carpet. I mean, hell, even in the meeting, Callie Key, Holly, Erica Maspero. I mean, they got someone on their side that's like, you're doing this. Like, you're going to do it. And I'm going to be right here in your ear, holding down the fort, doing what needs to be done. I mean, it was just that. That's what I like to see, is when you've got that person, your partner, in, not just your partner in life, but your partner in crime, that's just like, whatever it takes, we're going to do this. And I'm all in. And that's pretty much what's driven. I want the spouses there so they see it, they feel it, they understand it, like the environment, the super conscious, all those things. It's not required. And quite frankly, I don't have Susan there. She's holding down the fort with 5 kids. And I don't like being away 3 and 4 days. I get homesick. I text her yesterday, like, I get nerve-wracked at like day 2 of her not being around, which, maybe I'm just a baby, but it's possible that but you've got to have that. I don't know, it's a must, but it's a lot harder when you don't have that, because when you're doing stuff in the business world and accumulating wealth, whatever it is, that's a battle. Like, we talk about waking up on the battlefield. And if it's a battle there and in your sanctuary and your privacy and your home, that's really tough. And I know some people struggle with it, and I'm not a marriage counselor. I am not a marriage counselor by any means. Like, I got lucky. I got a gift from, heaven, that someone saved my life. And now I was like, okay, now you do your thing. You got to get going. So.
Well, and that's the piece. It's like finding that dynamic that works for you and your spouse. It's not that one spouse works, the other one holds down the fort. It's not that dynamic. It's that you're each doing what is required to move this whole thing forward. Whole thing meaning business plus family. I mean, the spouse may have their own business endeavor or their
Yeah,
own
a lot of them
projects.
do.
Yeah. And so you come together and go, okay, what resources do we need to make this work and balance all that out? Because it is like the tiniest problem at home, it sucks way more energy than the size of that problem, just mentally and pulling
100%.
you away. Because we care, because we're married to these folks for a reason. We have these amazing kids, and when something is off there, it, it's just distracting and pulling. So, I think there's both being strong. I mean, it's why one of the taglines with the line, "Make your family indestructible." This isn't not just financially, but being a unit, coming together and
Yeah.
doing that. And there's times for, hey, let's get together and solve this. And there's also time for, this is going on. There's zero I can do about it in this minute. And I've got to compartmentalize. I've got to shift over to this. Have you found help, secrets, ways of doing that?
Being transactional is not good. If I do this, you do that. I mean, I don't know, I've made it 21 years, I think, and by the skin of my teeth, because sometimes you get in that mindset, well, I did all this stuff. Why didn't, what are you doing? I don't think that's smart. And, it's funny. I heard this. I don't remember who said it. It's been a while. Do you want to be right or do you want to be in love? Which one's more important to you? I think some people get that justice meter out. I may have, and so I want to be right instead of being in love. I would say I'd rather be in love, and if I'm not there and have to deal with the fallout of things, why does it matter? Why is me like knowing? And I get sucked into that where I think I have a better idea. Most of the time I don't. So just maybe, let the other person run with their strengths and support it versus judge it or score it, things like that.
Well, some of the same skills as being a good employer, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like relationship skills, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think it comes down to over and over and over again, each problem that comes up comes down to talk it out. Hey,
Yeah.
as soon as you get that little ping, get out of like, I'm pissed mode and go and like, look, I'm really frustrated. I probably have zero right to be frustrated, but I just am. And here's why. Here's what's coming up. I mean, at the core of all of it, with both spouses doing that more, my goodness, does that lead to so much better,
Oh yeah.
better harmony.
Yes. Harmony is a good word. I mean, you can't let it be a free for all at home, but you probably I find myself doing this. I get more irritated by little things that mean nothing. So I think we had this conversation like 3 weeks ago. I am working on my calm. I actually got complimented at our in-person that I seemed more calm. So that was nice. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I was
Is it
like,
because the extreme was so bad that just you're down to normal and
I
like,
think,
this is amazing?
well, we once had one in Utah, and we were on the second floor and there was mud on the windows. So someone had like, it was the desert, so it was like sprayed. And I walked in that room and it like, I'm like, how is there mud on these windows? We're looking out the window, there's mud on the windows. Instead of focusing on the like 20 people in the room or whatever, of course, I'm like, and they remind me, well, at least, Ryan Meredith will be like, there's not mud on the windows. So that's like could be worse. Uh, but I mean, in that train, I guess we're talking in circles around. I think if you can start to not get so focused on the little things in any endeavor, it's better and probably makes life easier for those that have to be around you. And, it is, I mean, you carry, it's not like a switch. You can't turn it off and walk in the house and be like, oh, I'm perfect right now. I mean, sometimes a deacon, the decompression helps. We moved into our new house and I've got 10 extra minutes to get home, and that it's a little buffer. I mean, some quiet time and just kind of like, all right, let's.
I found that was always a big deal to me when I took that time, right? And was purposeful. It wasn't just going home in the same state. It's transition time, right? I am entering another role, and like, even if it is 10 extra minutes, it's sitting in the car somewhere, 10 extra minutes, just thinking about nothing, just in life. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're just go, 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 go between meetings, between this, between tasks, if you can find that, I don't know, personally, I just need that. Like, okay, I'm doing something different now. There's a different energy to that for sure.
I think there's a science around it's like 45, 15. If you have 15 minutes in between, you can kind of rearrange. The nice benefit I have now, though, is when I come to go home, I go over what's called the pass. It's the inlet or outlet to the Gulf of America. I call it the ocean, but down here I get reprimanded if I say the ocean, because apparently it's the Gulf. But you come up over this and like it is there. You breathe different. Like it's a different, just kind of like the vastness of it just kind of overtakes you. So
That's
that's pretty
awesome.
cool. That's cool. It's a momentary lapse of reality where you realize how minuscule you are in the grand scheme. Helps with my humility. But it's cool.
Yeah. But even back to this idea too, kind of what prompted a lot of this was this thought of needing permission to be successful in something. And that's the piece. I mean, we bring in sort of the spouse aspect, but there are plenty of decisions like that these are big decisions,
Yeah.
right? Maybe even what you do on the weekends if you're not in a relationship or something, but those can have big consequences, good and bad, in your business and where your energy goes and flows. And and then there's also just this mentality, if you're in a relationship, of it's a big difference between I need my spouse's permission to do this, to be successful, to go into this group, to do whatever, and hey, I want to include my spouse. That's a
It's
big
different.
difference there. I feel like in life, spouse or not, when you're sitting around waiting for permission to go fully be what you intend to be, that needs to get fixed
Yeah.
before anything else is going to happen.
Well, and when you talk about decisions, most people, when they want evidence or results, then they want to, bring in the belief around that. Then they try to change like, whatever they have to do internally, like identity, and then they want to make a decision. So it's like all those things leading up to it are what keep you where you are, instead of make the decision, believe, become it, then you'll get results. It's like the polar opposite of how we normally, would normally go about something. So make the decision first, then belief will come. That will change who you are. Then you'll see the results. And if you do it that way, you'll move through life faster with less speed bumps and less heartache versus always trying to, it's faith. I mean, I think it's the definition of faith. Like you have to see it before it happens. So if I, decide I'm going to do this and my belief system changes around, I am going to do this. I don't hope, that's another outlawed word I'm working on. Hope's not a strategy. There's only hope in salvation. It's the only hope is salvation. Then your identity, then you'll see results. And I think people have, and from what I can tell, people have it backwards. There's an old, saying around it. That's poverty of identity. I keep my identity poor. and it takes me forever to do something or to accomplish something because I'm putting all that in front of the decision to make a change. So, like, for example, if you were going to decide you were going to be in the Lion, you become the evidence. That not, I can show you evidence all day long. I mean, there's 30 people in there that would attest. Probably have some of those on here sometime. But you become the evidence, not show me the evidence, then I'll believe it, then I'll make the necessary changes, then I'll decide to do something. It's like a reversal of decision. And by the way, going back to the relationship aspect, if the person that, you at least want to confide in or discuss it with thinks that same way, now you're real slow. Because not only do you have to take action and decide, now you have to have them at least buy in or say, go for it. Otherwise, now you're doing two transformations. So, and that's, again, I posted this morning. I mean, we were installed with doubt and fear. Like it was AI is a hot term, so I like to use computer terms now because it's cool. But you weren't born with it. It was installed in you. All the doubts, all the fears you have were a product of, someone or the environment or the whatever has been installed in you. So you have to uninstall that quickly. And the best way to do it is make the decision. Then the other steps. That's how, and shout out to Sam Thomas. He wasn't installed with it. He just decides. And, with little education or any training or anything, he moves faster than everybody.
Wow.
That's why he outperforms them. So it's interesting to see. And I'm not, I had a perspective line we were talking the other day, and he was talking about education, like the education system. And you have to have it. However, it is, education by design is meant to uniform what you do and calibrate a 25 or 30 person classroom. So those decision makers usually get pulled back for about 12 years. So it's interesting. Now we can go on a diatribe on that, but I'm just saying when I see it, it's all those things I talked about, then decide versus decide it, believe it, become it, then you harvest.
Right. Because even if there is something holding you back, you don't know what that is, you don't move faster, but just deciding I'm going to be this person now. Where do I find those resources? How do I break through some of that, let go of those installed identities that are fear-based and hold you back? And that's the thing, like, as we decide who we want to work with as clients, as line members, whatever, I think it's okay. I think it's more than okay. I think it's important to make some of those things a requirement, a filter for who you're working with. How fast do they move? How are you jumping in? How are you going to move with this rather than convince second cousins and all of that they need to, that you should do
I got to
this.
get everybody's buy-in back to the
Right.
relationships. Well, I text somebody yesterday that's kind of dragging, every day you put it off, the old you survives and it's weaker. The weaker version of yourself every day. It doesn't matter what it is, lion, whatever. Every day you put something off, you've allowed a weaker person to survive. Like you didn't die. So you survived another day where you are. That's slow death, by the way. So it has a way of lulling you into, we've talked about it a lot, the complacency of I'm okay, being okay. And I kind of get the charge of being judgmental. It's just when you can see that it's not a big thing to change. It's just the decision, just start differently and then change your identity, kill your old self, because as we talked about in the experiment, my old self showed back up.
Hmm.
The old
Yeah.
self shows up I posted, I'm going to post on social media instead of just in school maybe. But, you know, your old self shows up every morning. That's the first thing that shows up is the old you. And if you don't go to war with that, you stay where you are. And maybe that's okay for some people. It's not for me. It's not for them. I know that. No one wants to stay where they are.
Well, that's the piece too of all of this. It's not a matter of you need to make a decision. You need to be this way so you're in the Lion. No, you
Yeah.
just need to make a decision, right? Whether you're going to do this, whether you're going to start a new business, whether you're going to go after that next client. If the answer is no, awesome. And if it's like, oh no, something comes across, this doesn't resonate with me, boom, on to the next. Great. But if you feel that pull or you have that creative urge, something's telling me I need to start this newsletter or doing this thing, and you don't do it, that's when that weaker version of you that you mentioned is showing up. It's not because you're not doing that specific thing. It's because you're not doing the thing that's your inner self is pulling you to.
Yeah. You're just beating the doubt and fear. You're making it stronger. So
Yeah.
we are in the Lion. We're attacking that. And we got a lot of people doing it daily. So more to come on that. It's interesting. We do the Leadership Academy and Sales Assassins for people in the Lions. One of our Leadership Academy people made a comment, and it's only been 2 weeks since we started really digging into this, especially in the morning, the difference they saw in their leader. So
Wow.
We'll see. We'll see how that turns out.
Awesome.
All right.
There's your edge.
That's all I got.
You've just experienced the Lion's Edge. If this episode lit a fire, if you're ready to push past your current ceiling, there's more waiting for you. Want to see what it takes to become a member of the Lion? Visit jointhelion.com to discover how successful entrepreneurs become unstoppable forces. And make sure you never miss an episode by hitting subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just content. This is your edge.
This show is powered by Media Leads. Tired of being overlooked in your industry? Learn how market gravity can transform you into the leader everyone's talking about by going to MediaLeadsCo.com.